Today's topic, 17 signs of an emotionally abusive relationship. Today's topic is very, very heavy, but it's an extremely important topic to discuss because not all and not most, but some of the women who I coach in Skype coaching sessions are trapped in an emotionally abusive relationship and they want to get out. And in fact, I also experienced it, that sometimes a woman shares her story with me and she tells me what her boyfriend does. And in my mind, the alarm bells start to ring and I'm like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Because often when we are used to a certain environment, when we are used to getting emotionally abused, we think that something is wrong with us, even though what's wrong is the other person and the way the other person treats us. And the relationship we're in is actually what is wrong, and nothing is wrong with us. And that's why it's so important that if you are stuck in an emotionally abusive relationship right now, that you get out. And if you want me to help you to identify whether or not you are in an emotionally abusive relationship, if you want me to help you to get out of this relationship, and if you want me to help you to get over this jerk, then you can click on the link in the description and inquire for your first Skype coaching session with me. I've helped women who are in the exact same situation that you are in right now, and I know even though it can be a very painful process, it's important to go through this process and to get out of this relationship, because only then do you have the chance to live a fulfilled life and to attract a man who truly loves you and who treats you the way you deserve. Because life is too short to be stuck in an emotionally abusive relationship. You need to get out of this relationship, and only then can you embark on a journey of healing and a journey that allows you to attract the man of your dreams, which will then eventually allow you to experience what it's like to have a fulfilling, emotionally healthy relationship. And the first sign that you are in an emotionally abusive relationship is that he always tells you what you did wrong, but he never admits his own mistakes. No matter what you do, you are always wrong. He always calls you a loser, or he always tells you that you are not worthy, that you are not good enough. This is a sign that you are in fact in an emotionally abusive relationship. And the second very clear sign and very, very obvious sign that you can't deny at all is when he gets loud very easily. And the smallest things make him scream at you and make him yell, and he loses his temper. This means that you are in a very, very toxic and unhealthy relationship. I, for example, have never, ever screamed at my girlfriend. Never, not once. Yes, we had constructive arguments, we had disagreements, but I never screamed at her. And yes, okay, you might say there are exceptions. If he really loses his temper once, and let's say your boyfriend screams at you once, and he then apologizes dearly, and he might even cry because he's so sorry that he hurt you and that he scared you, then you can say, okay, it was a one-time event. But if it happens again and again and again and again, this means that this relationship you're in is very emotionally abusive. And if he forces you to apologize for things that he messed up, if he, for example, makes a mistake, and then he blames you for it, and he tells you that it was your mistake, and then you have to apologize to him for the mistake that he made, this is also a clear sign. And if he makes you feel inferior by talking down on you. And this can be very tricky, because sometimes he might hide it in the sense of, I just want to make you feel cute. But if he, for example, says things like, oh, do you really think you can do that? Do you really think you can do that now? Are you sure? Oh, come on, no. You're too weak. No, you're not good enough. So be very careful, even when he talks to you in this cute and fun and playful voice. Listen to the words that he says. Are these words encouraging, or are these words meant to put you down? And if he forcefully bonds you towards him, what does it mean to forcefully bond you towards him? Well, if he, for example, says, you are nothing without me. Without me, you wouldn't have achieved anything. If every success that you've ever achieved is automatically attributed to him, at least in his mind, this means that he is emotionally abusive, because he wants to give you the feeling that you are nothing without him. And by giving you this feeling, he wants to make sure that you don't leave him. And another very painful sign is that he tries to embarrass you in public. Let's say, for example, one of your friends talks in a very positive way about his girlfriend, and he immediately says, why don't you do that for me? You never do that, while you're right next to them, and it's this awkward silence in the room, and everybody knows something is wrong here, what's going on. And he just always finds ways to embarrass you in public, no matter if it has to do with your relationship, or if it has to do with your work, or even in the worst case, you told him about a certain trauma you had in the past, and you told him to keep it as a secret, and then he just talks about this in front of all the people and makes fun of you for it. This can be very painful, but it can be a clear sign that it's time to leave this relationship. And like I said before, and I want to say it again, if you want me to help you to get out of this relationship, to leave this guy, and to eventually get over him, then you can click on the link in the description and inquire for your first Skype coaching session with me. I've helped women who have been in your situation and they got out of it, and I know that I can help you too. And if he doesn't want you to leave the house without him, this is also a clear sign that he's extremely controlling and emotionally abusive. If you, for example, feel like a prisoner in your own apartment because you are only allowed to go out with him and never without him, this is a sign that you are, in fact, in an emotionally abusive relationship. And if he uses your most painful trauma against you, I already told you that he might use your trauma to make fun of you in public, but there's an even more painful way how he might use this against you. For example, if you have a very bad relationship with your father, and he then always says your father never loved you, I guess he was right for leaving you, I guess your dad made the right choice, you know, I think about leaving you too. If he does that, this is not only extremely painful, but it's also very dangerous for your mental health, because it always recreates this trauma in your mind, and you are trapped in this traumatic loop, and it's so important that you break out of this. And if he threatens you whenever you indicate that you want to leave him, and these threats can be either very, very direct in the sense of if you leave me, I will do this to you, or they can be very subtle. And these kind of threats are often more frightening because you don't know what he does. If he, for example, just looks at you in a very serious way and he says, "Do you really want to do this? Are you sure?" This is a sign that he's very emotionally abusive and you have to get out. And another sign that I have to share with you that's really important, and that often happens when, for example, the woman decides to stay home and to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home wife, and he then controls you with his money. And it's very important that you distinguish here. If you and your boyfriend or you and your husband decided that he's the main breadwinner and that you stay at home with the kids, or that you stay at home even if you don't have kids and you take care of the house, I don't say that this is bad. If he treats you with love, if he doesn't use the fact that he's the breadwinner against you, then this can be a very healthy relationship. Most of my Skype coaching clients are extremely independent women and financially successful women. But if you decide that you want to be a stay-at-home mom, I mean, whatever you want to do, do it. It's your life. No matter if you want to be a manager in a big company or if you decide you want to be a stay-at-home wife, both choices are okay. Just choose what works for you. And these relationships can be, in fact, very healthy and very supportive. However, and that's the important thing you have to distinguish, as soon as he uses his money to control you and he uses it against you, then it becomes toxic. Then it becomes emotionally abusive. For example, if you decide to buy something that's either good for you, for example, a new dress, or that's actually good for both of you, an item that you need in the household, and he then says something like, "I'm making all the money here and you're just wasting my money. Jesus Christ, what are you doing?" Something like that, for example. And he blames you for the fact that he's the breadwinner, even though you decided it together, and even though he might wanted that, because this gives him the power to control you. So always keep in mind, such a relationship doesn't have to be emotionally abusive, but it can be if he uses the fact that he makes the money against you. And he doesn't ask you if you want to do something, he just tells you to do it. Do this for me, do that, wash the dishes, cook a meal, why is it not ready? If he acts like a little dictator, this means that he is emotionally abusive. And if the relationship with him is an unpredictable roller coaster, when he feels like he has the upper hand, then he's screaming and yelling and acting like an emotionally abusive guy. But as soon as he has the feeling that you might leave him, that's when he turns into a really nice boyfriend. Oh, be very careful with that. And always write down the bad times so that you keep them in mind. because it's easy to forget about them when he treats you good again. And if he walks away instead of talking about problems. If you, for example, have an argument and instead of constructively working on your problem and solving the problem, he just walks away. Or he tries to guilt you into appreciating the relationship. For example, he might be saying, "Look what I've done for you. Be thankful. You're so ungrateful." These are also signs of an emotionally abusive relationship. And if he doesn't pay attention when you're talking to him, if he basically treats you, like a pet or as if you don't exist when you're talking to him, he just stares at the wall, or he might even show you very, very directly that he doesn't respect you. For example, you start a conversation with him, no argument, just a normal conversation, but he then just starts playing a video game and he treats you as if you don't exist. This is very emotionally abusive. And if he tries to win your friends and family over and makes them believe that you are the one who's unstable, and now we are in really dangerous territory. When this happens, you absolutely have to get out of there. And if you want to do it alone, that's also okay, but if you want me to help you with it, then you can click on the link in the description, inquire for your first Skype coaching session, and we will work on getting you out of this relationship and allowing you to heal so that you can eventually attract a really emotionally healthy relationship. But if that happens, if he tries to win your friends and family over, then you are in a dangerous territory, because he puts himself in this position where he has the freedom to act however he wants without the fear that he's the bad guy, because he already set the narrative in a way that your friends and family think that you are the one who's responsible that the relationship fails and not he, because he's such an angel, because he already brainwashed them into believing that you are the bad person. And this is, like I said, extremely dangerous. And it gets even more dangerous for your mental health if he does what I want to share with you right now in the last sign of an emotionally abusive relationship. And that's when he turns the tables and calls you an abuser, and he calls you a terrible person. And in the worst case, this can lead to paranoia and severe emotional trauma, because it slowly alters your own reality. Because the more often we hear a lie, at some point we start to believe it. And if he gives you the feeling over and over again that it's your mistake, that it's your fault, that you are the bad person, at some point you will believe it. And before that happens, you have to get out of this relationship. And if you want me to help you with it, I'm happy to coach you, I'm happy to guide you, I'm happy to help you to get out of it, to get over this relationship, and to finally heal and to then attract a relationship that fulfills you and that nurtures you and that makes you truly happy. And if you enjoyed watching this video, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. Share your opinion, share your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And I would love it even more if you would hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video.